Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Here we have Vladimir Putin's response to Donald Trump's ultimatums. Why ultimatums? Because it was 50 days, then it was between 10 and 12, and now it's 10. And probably it's going to be 0 today. And I have Putin's response, and that is 309 drones and 8 missiles overnight on Kiev, and not only. So in this video I will show you, according to Ukrainians, this is Putin's response. Well, remember when you guys sabotaged, which is blown up, 3 railway lines or whatever you call them? Remember? Well, Putin said, we are going to pay you back. So this is for that, I'm suspecting. But the Ukrainians give it a different interpretation. That is, this is Putin's response. Okay, it is. Now what? That means keep threatening, keep giving ultimatums, and this is what you get in return. Are you up for the challenge? If yes, let's go. So I have a map, and I have a few articles to give you some details on this attack from the 30th to 31st of July 2025. Then we have details on the attack on Kiev, which now we find out there were about 88 casualties. So the air defenses did not do a good job. But then we find out what the Russians say about the attack, their interpretation, what they say the aim of the operation was, and all targets were hit, obviously. And then we find out that the Russians have a new drone, which is jet propelled. And the Ukrainians are like, right? Is that Ukrainian for you? All right. So that's another one. And we find out that this guy says attack on Kiev is Putin's response to Trump's deadlines. So don't make the fucking deadlines then. Or maybe do it, but have a weapon in your hand. And then this guy, the foreign minister of Ukraine, says that now Putin must face consequences. I have to remind Mr. Sybiha, the foreign minister of Ukraine, that you're not innocent, or your guys are not innocent as well, at all, not as well, at all. First, you are the bitches of global interests, so shut the up. Okay, let's start with that one, Sybiha. Without that little detail, the Ukraine war wouldn't have existed. That's my gut feeling as a free human being that I am, and I'm entitled to make a fool of myself as much as I want, with no consequences, but your assessment of my imbecility. Imbecility, yeah, that's a new word, I like it. I'm gonna go and put it back right there, it's gonna be mine. So let's start with the first topic, the attack. New voice of Ukraine. Russia strikes Ukraine with 309 drones, 8 missiles, 291 targets neutralized, according to the Ukrainians. Correct? Correct. So this is what, fireworks now? No, all right. Russian forces launch an attack on Ukraine with 317 air assault assets in the early hours of July 31st, according to Ukrainian Air Force post on Telegram. The aggressor state deployed 309 drones and 8 Iskander-K, not Iskander-M, cruise missiles, with Kiev as the primary target. So Kiev was the target, right? The Air Force reported that air defenses and electronic warfare measures neutralized 291 targets, 288 attack drones, and 3 Iskander-K cruise missiles. 5 missiles directly hit 12 locations. I'm not going to read further because they're all civilian targets. Kindergartens, old people's houses, and, places of culture, including one striking, of course, a residential building, and 21 Shahed drone-struck targets. Debris from downed targets and impact was recorded at 19 locations, nearly all in the capital. So Kiev was the one. Ukraine form. Oh, look at this new Napoleon Bonaparte. This reminds me of George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984, where you have another Finkelstein here being in charge of us. Russia launched over 300 drones, 8 missiles at Ukraine, Zelensky says. Of course, don't hit them, don't hit Moscow, or don't try to hit Moscow, and this guy's not gonna do this to you. I'm just kidding, because they already did it. Why? You have your military over there, you have the high command headquarters. Russia strikes Ukrainian defense industry facilities in overnight attack, according to Moscow. So this is what the Russians say they hit. A military depot and air defense Jesus Christ, a military depot and an airfield were also hit, according to defense officials. The ministry reported in a statement that a large-scale precision strike involving long-range weapons and unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. The targets included Ukraine's defense industry facilities, a military airfield infrastructure, and a depot storing ammunition, missiles, and components for the production of unmanned aerial vehicles, according to the ministry. All designated targets have been hit. The Russians say they always hit everything. The ministry said in a statement, the objectives of the strike have been achieved. All right, earlier in the day, Ukrainian officials reported a powerful attack on Kiev with videos showing numerous explosions and fires. Defense officials in Kiev claimed 7 people were killed and 64 injured, with 50 hospitalized. Well, that changed, according to Ukrinform. Combined Russian attack on Kiev, casualties rise to 88, 8 dead. Next. Let's see what the Russians have now that these guys have a hard time with. According to New Voice of Ukraine, on the same day of July 31st, Russian jet-powered Shahed drones challenge Ukraine's air defenses. So first, why don't we go to the map, and we go to the map of Ukraine to see where Kiev is, right here, in the center, kind of. So this is where the Russians attacked mainly. Got it? All right, let's go back to these guys. So what kind of jet-powered Shahed drones? Not all air defense systems used by Ukraine armed forces can intercept jet-powered drones deployed by Russia. And there is a hint, not really a hint, hey, we need air defenses, go to work, Westerners, get taxed and give us that so we can sell it on the black market. Up to 8 jet-powered unmanned aerial vehicles were detected during Russia's attack on July 30th. It's possible these drones were also used in a combined strike overnight into July 31st. And I'm quoting, "There's a distinctive sound of these UAVs," Ignat said, adding that the radar detects them as cruise missiles due to their flight characteristics. And I'm quoting, "Their speed can exceed 500 kilometers per hour. Not all the systems we currently use can intercept these targets." Now, in order to have a drone going with that kind of speed, that drone has to be very sturdy, so it doesn't disintegrate. That's the first one. Aerodynamically perfect if you want something to fly with 500 kilometers per hour. Otherwise, you're going to have a wing blowing, it's going to be going to the space, and so on. Okay. So let's go to the last 2 articles that I have here. And these articles tell us that actually this is Putin's response. So what should they do? All right. Ukrinform. Svyrydenko. Attack on Kiev is Putin's response to Trump's deadlines. This is according to Ukrinform. On the 31st of July 2025, Ukrainian Prime Minister Yulia Sybiha has said that Russian terrorist attack on Kiev was Russian leader Vladimir Putin's response to deadlines set by US President Donald Trump. Don't set the deadlines anymore. Or eliminate the head, which is, where is he? Right here. And I'm going, Russian terrorist attack Kiev. Dozens of strikes hit residential buildings. It is extremely hard to hold back emotions. There's only anger. We will neither forget nor forgive. Hey, you can't say that. That's the Second World War mantra of those guys. You can't do it. Never forget. You can't, that fucker. Or maybe, because you have Zelensky, Sybiha, and Yermak in charge of you idiots, then yes, you can use it, I guess. She emphasized that the attack on Kiev is a direct response to Trump's deadlines. Now, how do you know that? If tomorrow, if today, let's say last night, on 31st, Vladimir Putin, the president of the Russian Federation, went to the bathroom and did a number 2, is that also a response, direct response to Trump? What if yesterday, let's say, Vladimir Putin, picked his nose? Do you think that's also a direct response to Trump? I mean, when you make these kind of connections, you need more than, this kind of, because of that it's correlated, directed to, no. Or is that this caused by that, is correlated, correlation. You can't like that. You need more information to make a point. No, it's a direct response. If Putin would say, yes, that's what it is, then it's slam dunk. But until then, you can say, no, actually it's because the 31st of July, is someone's birthday. Let's say Putin's cousin. That's the reason why, or something. I dislike very much when these people, and she is the appointed prime minister. Very young, 39 years old, and she's a woman as well. So she was appointed over there and she comes with this kind of statements. I mean, you make this kind of statements when you are maybe in the 6th grade. Beyond 7th grade, you're already, suspect if you make this kind of statements. That means you are infantile. We have to realize that you can't just say things. He looks at me, he wants to rape me. It doesn't mean that. Even if he's a rapist, you can't say that. You need more evidence to support the claim. So she's a prime minister. You got that? All right. So I already know she's an infantile, or she says the right things, the right narrative. Either way, she's a prick or an infantile, or both. Which one is she? Because that statement over there cannot stand. You cannot just make it like that. She emphasized that the attack on Kiev is a direct response to Trump's deadlines. Based on what the fuck evidence? Because anyway, I think it's because Putin had that hard on, and that's why he ordered this attack. The world must respond. You see why she said that? She said that because of this. Must respond at tribunal and maximum pressure. My condolences to families of the victims. So she was put over there probably because she's gonna squeeze some of our empathy. My empathy doesn't go that way. I tell you why. First, I think I'm with my gut feelings and my opinion, not assessment, because as a free person you can have opinions, how many you want, idiotic or not. She is not working for the Ukrainian people, therefore she's a traitor. I think she works for outside interests. They would put her in the category legal of a traitor. That's why for me when she says these kind of things, I feel sorry, always felt sorry for the Ukrainian nation. Not for these guys. These guys are just the messengers, the mouthpieces of the globalist or whomever interest in the West. That's what it is. That's why I have no empathy when she says that. I feel sorry for the Ukrainians, but these pieces of shit are using the tragedy of the Ukrainian nation to do what? To fix other people's mercantile interest. That's the fire down below. You remember that song? All right. So when she says that my tribunal, let's start with tribunal, with the first tribunal. Let's get everybody in front of a tribunal. I would like it in a Nuremberg kind of tribunal. Why? Because they will all be hanged probably by those standards. And I want all of them, Victoria Nuland. I want all of those guys in front from 2014. In 2014, when these guys overthrew the legitimate government, democratically elected of Viktor Yanukovych, good or bad, it was a system that was democratic, corrupt as everywhere else, more or less, all right? It's like, it's one thing that it's omnipresent, and that is stupidity. I have it, you have it, everybody has it. It's just a proportion, how much of it we have. The same with corruption. Every country has it. There's no such a perfect system. It's just the intensity, how big that is. So the same here. Bring those guys, those traitors since then, and not only, put them in front of I would like to have a tribunal as the Nuremberg trials. Then they will all be like the other guys. I guarantee you that. So let's start with that Miss 39-year-old infantile like Annalena Baerbock. And what's her name? Jesus Christ. Kaya Kallas now from, she's the top diplomat of the European Union and she's a know-nothing as the American party. So again, that's what it is, my friends, is the direct response. We have to hang the guy over there. All right, let's go to the last article, which we have this guy who also, I don't think is an imbecile. Again, these guys are not working for the Ukrainian people. For me, they are the enemies of the Ukrainian people. That's what the leadership in Kiev. That's how I view them. New Voice of Ukraine. After deadly strike on Kiev, Ukraine Sybiha says Putin must face consequences now. With whose weapons and people, man? You need to lose some weight, by the way. You like food? I like food too, but I can't show up like you. Anyway, so this guy says now. First, I think you're a traitor. I think. Why? I don't think you work for the Ukrainian nation. Ukrainian foreign minister responded to Russia's overnight strike on Kiev by calling the intensified pressure on Moscow. Like, what do you mean? Nuke them? Writing in a post on X that the moment has come to end all grace periods granted to Vladimir Putin. They don't start with the beginning. Why don't you talk to the NATO? Why didn't you talk to the Americans in 1991? Why don't you talk to them? Why didn't they stop with NATO coming close to Russia? Threatening Russia, by the way. No? You don't consider that? You start with that, and then you end up with Putin. And see if Putin was the aggressor. Yes, he's the aggressor. It's like I'm not going to go there. Let's go on it further here. Perhaps it's time to reduce to zero all deadlines given to Putin, because Putin is just a student and we are somehow in charge, like they are in charge of you, Sybiha. That's the way it works. These guys still have the communist tyrannical thinking. Someone is in charge of me. I have to bow my head. Instead of saying I'm a free person, fuck off. I say whatever I want. And you don't like it, bring arguments. Don't shut me up. We have to stop him now. What started, Sybiha? I think you are in charge of a criminal organization in charge of Ukraine. That's what I think. I might be wrong, but time will tell, and I guarantee you that's what it is. You have an unelected leader over there, not even Ukrainian. What the fuck are you talking about? It's not a Ukrainian enterprise. Zmihal, Reznikov, remember Reznikov? Zelensky, Yermak. You have, if you put Umerov, the Tatar, you put Syrsky, the Russian. Where the fuck are Ukrainians? You! And you are a traitor. I think, nevertheless, because the Ukrainians did not have the balls to kill their own nation for the globalist interests, they need to bring some Venetics, some aliens. They have no problem defending your nation from the Russians. There is being flattened for those interests. Oh my God, I'm gonna have a heart attack here. So yes, don't give him nothing right there. And listen, reduce to zero all deadlines, like a teacher to a student. To Putin to demonstrate a constructive approach, President Donald Trump was very generous. Who is this fucking Trump, after all? Sybiha, who the fuck is Donald Trump? For you, he's in charge of you. For everybody else, he's just a president of just another country. If we look legally, he's not God. For him, used to that communist, yes, right there. We want Donald Trump. He was very generous, that ass-kissing right there, and very patient ass-kissing, Sybiha, with Putin, trying to find a solution. What kind of solution? Dictating the Russians and Putin what to do? Who is this Trump, after all? Is he appointed the policeman of the world? I thought the United Nations has that right. Not he. So what are you talking about? He, or what he represents, is the root cause of why Putin is the aggressor right now. Isn't it, Sybiha? So you're either a piece of shit, know all that, but you ignore it and you come with this garbage, or you're a baboon, like your prime minister now. Which one is it? Man, it's so irritating when you hear these guys. These guys play with people's tragedies, my friends, with people's lives, with children, with nations, with cultures, with traditions. For God's sake, look at it like that in humane way. Oh no, man. No, what is the root cause? All of it could have been avoided, but no, 2014 triggered it all. Triggered it like real, and then 2022. But if you go back, you go to 1991. the promised non-expansion of NATO towards Russia's borders. And what did you do? You lied. So let's start with those liars. My God, it's right there. It's right there. So that's why, for me, these guys are traitors. They work for foreign interest. These guys are getting ready to put Zaluzny in charge of Zelensky. I thought that's for the Ukrainian nation to pick their leader, not for the Westerners to have Zaluzny now in vogue, pictured and all cool, which he's not. I made a video on that one. Who are these guys creating your leaders? Who are these guys? Not Ukrainians. Now Zaluzny is Ukrainian. We'll see what he's gonna do when he's gonna be in charge. And you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna follow the orders of the boss, because he was in charge of your military and he didn't do squat. And that is a little, how do you call it? Insurrection, military insurrection. That's why he needed to do, to save the Ukrainian nation. But he didn't. That means he was on the payroll. If he really was in charge of the Ukrainian military, he could have said, stop, arrest those guys, put them on trial, stop everything. But probably the next day he would have been found suicide, or his helicopter blown by, I don't know, a American missile. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.